The comment in the chat. Yes, Tom is still doing his morning videos. We'll get you information about how to access that just coming up shortly. But I want to welcome everybody into Train and Trade, live trading every day at 11 a.m. Make sure you follow along dtitrader.com/telegram. And of course, join us over on YouTube, dtitrader.com/YouTube. Click the bell to subscribe so that you get a notice when we are going live. And if you like what you're seeing there, go ahead and click that thumbs up and go ahead and check out several other of our live streams that exist over there. Risk disclaimer: there is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. You and you alone will be responsible for the decisions you make, so make them responsibly. Remember, past performance is not always indicative of future results, and always consider risk first. Crude opened at 88.55, had a high of 89.02, low down to 86.71. We're at 87.56 right now, so you can see that crude market going down. Iran still in the headlights, but it looks like we're making progress there, and that's why you have that big drop in crude. Key levels, actually, you know what? Let me pop this up a little bit. Key level 76.1150 is the new all-time high for the S&P futures. We're wondering if it will stay that way before we get to the end of the day. The week opens 75.19. Tom, you mentioned this in your TNT. That's going to give us, if we stay above 75.19, 9 straight weeks of positive weeks in the S&P futures. The May open 72.56. I feel like in the market down in stone, we are going to have a positive month of May. This is the last day of the month. And Tom, your opinion, I know you've done, you've been moving this morning. I saw you early on, 8
Yeah, why
a.m.
don't you?
presentation.
Hey, Chuck, I think you ought to go into my TNT and uh put a couple things, showing a couple things there because I don't TNT is where I can get information out to people and go look what I wrote up. I spent a lot of time today at the end of the month. They ought to see that. I think that'd be good. Once you showing that.
All right, let's do that. Let's go in and take a look here. And let me just slide this out for the screen and we'll scroll back a little bit to the beginning of today. You'll notice there's a lot of information coming out there. Here's May 29th talking. Tom gave us his first picture, what he's looking at on the reference bars. Let's blow this up a little bit so you can see the notes he's making. By the way, if you don't have a pen and paper beside you when you're trading, you might be missing out a little bit. You can see how Tom uses this information. 6 a.m., 8 a.m., and is that 4:30? What is that? The
RB2.
RB, let's say RB2. So 6 p.m., 8 a.m., and then RB2. Okay, so come down the list looking at all those stocks he's looking at, and you can see ESNQYM. We got CL in there,
Yeah,
GCSI,
what I was
ZB.
trying to do, Chuck, you know this, but what I was trying to do is given a tape reading exercise because I thought we were going to have a big day today, make new highs, which we did.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to show him the progression of it from last night, the 24-hour market, how it works. That
Yeah.
was my point of, I did that by hand. Um, in our
And
lessons today, I told Jonathan, I said, we ought to really type this out and show people. But I put that out there. Sandy, I'm calling you at the end of this. Put your number in there real quick. I owe you a call. Sandy, put your number in there. Sandy, right? Next $1 million. I want to call and talk to you today.
yeah, and just going down this list, Tom, new deck in the moneymaker. We've got the news images that come out. We've got record highs. We've got Tesla trade. So you actually put a trade out there. Spread SpaceX play. Um, so guys, this is a lot of great information. You can see this is typically what you're going to see early in the morning. It's what I walk into, and these times, these are Central times. So this is 5:30 for Tom. But you can see he's up early, as he likes to say. The early bird gets the worm. Shows you little pieces of the roadmap software. You have 76.45 and 75.45, the two big numbers, kind of bracketing this market. And we've been sitting about in the middle of that at 75.95, and just go down the list, and you can see who's doing what and how these markets are behaving. We'll come back in. Then we go and we get the RB2 print, make that nice and clear for everybody. And then we'll come down, look at a few extra pieces of information. Someone asked about the morning videos. That's in the TNT channel. You can see right here as Tom goes through. We get a little 2-pass rule coming up from the TNT channel. And you can see how the markets are building up there. The daily market rundown posted, RB3 posted, and now we get into train and trade. So let's go back in here. Tom, Sawgrass starting out 6 p.m. on Sunday night. I know you're excited for this. Any last minute additions?
In fact, I talked to somebody last night that's trying to make reservations to get there because he said, Tom, I've done a lot better than your 35-0 in what you show that you made. And he said, I'd like to come show you at Sawgrass. I'm going to try to get a ticket to come down there. He said, never found anything so valuable. He just heard me, a new person. So I'm looking forward to meeting him.
All right. Yeah, make sure if you are going to be joining us on Sawgrass that you let Adam know, adam@dtitrader.com. We want to make sure that there's enough food to feed you when you arrive. So come on down. And this is probably the last day that we're going to be able to mention this. We're going to have a drawing at the Sawgrass event for those of you who've invited your friends. Now, listen, you can invite your friends after the event. That's fine. And we certainly welcome that. You can invite them using dtitrader.com/train and trade. Make sure if you want your name in that drawing, though, that you copy Jonathan Rowe at dtitrader.com. We'll have that drawing live at Sawgrass.
Yeah, and let me just say, if you got people traveling with you, no sense in going out and buying in a meal. They can come eat with us on Sunday night. We got more than enough food for everybody. And, show up and introduce themselves. Who knows? Maybe they'll decide they want to be traders. That's happened before.
Yeah, that's a great point, Tom, because we certainly enjoy fraternizing with your spouses and your children and grandparents and the whole crew. When we go out to eat, we take everybody with us. So let us know how many you're bringing, not just yourself, but also anybody that's with you that's going to want to join us for those social events. May FTD stocks. We're going to go ahead and click in, and basically everything's looking great. I want you guys to bookmark this page. Make sure you've got it set up because we're going to archive this section. And on the same link, you'll see the June numbers starting up next week. The first of the first 3 days in June will be Monday. And going to get this list reset and going all over again. But as you can see, it's working out. This FTD algo, certainly worth the time. Want to encourage you guys to take advantage and bookmark that link. Now, let's review the lessons covered in Train and Trade this week. Tuesday, we focused on 5 stocks: SPY, QQQ, Apple, Intel, and NVIDIA. And I got Jonathan coming up here, so he's going to control our slides from here. But let's see, what else did we focus on, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'll get through the review, Chuck, and then when we go live, I'll hand it back to you when we go live to roadmap there. But Tuesday, Tom focused on SPY, QQQ, Apple, Intel, and NVIDIA. Here's where they were then. So let's check in. Let's see where they are now. The S&P futures was at 75.53. It's now up to 76.02. NASDAQ futures were at 30,098. They're up to 30,423. The SPY was at just shy of 752. It's up to 757. QQQ is up just shy of 731. It's up to 739. Apple 311. It's at just a little bit lower than that now. It's at 310.75. Intel was at 122, almost 123. It's now 118.5. NVIDIA was at 217 and it's currently 217. All these stocks that are slightly below where they were then, write that number down for next week. It's going to be important to see them go higher next week. We talked about training, or T-Buzz Talking Trade on Tuesday of this week, and Chuck and Tom just went through the TNT channel. Get on board with TNT. You can go to dtitrader.com/TNT to be involved with that program next week and over the next month and months after that. dtitrader.com/TNT.
You know, it's funny. I'll go back, Jonathan. It's funny how when I run into people at Sawgrass, one of the first questions I usually ask people, are you a member of TNT? And people that, you know, in a lot of my programs are not members, but we try to mention it from time to time to keep the numbers where they need to be. But everybody that goes to my small classes, they're all members, number one. And secondly, they all said, Tom, you're absolutely correct. I never paid for a dime. I just put a little money up to get started. And it's a heck of a channel.
To say the least. I mean, you start at 5 a.m. I know when I woke up this morning for our 8 a.m. session, 7 a.m. Central, I was up at 5:45 or so my time. That's a lot earlier than usual. I thought to myself, man, Tom's up this morning every morning. Tom's up this early every morning, already posting into the TNT channel. That's the value you get, just a little bit of value you get in TNT. So again, dtitrader.com/TNT. Now, on Wednesday, we looked at SpaceX stock. This is brand new, folks. This is important to pay attention to. Whenever Tom issues a new list of stocks like this is the SpaceX watch list. Here are the stocks right here. Take a picture. Now, this is from a snapshot from the other day. Take a picture of this. And by the way, on the FTD spreadsheet, which I'll post into the Zoom chat. Yeah, at the bottom, you'll see tabs. Now, most of the tabs down there are for, my use doing this and that. But the first two tabs are FTD Algo, and the second tab it says space. All right. Right here, down at the bottom. If I click on space, it's got the space stocks there to keep track of. Okay. Now, at the end of the day on Wednesday, we talked again about day trading, the art of winning. We had a session this morning.
Yeah, we had 100, and I got a message this morning. Is a guy said, I understand you sold out. Will you take one more? And I said, you got to pay $1,000. And he said, I'll do it. A friend of his was in there and was telling him about it. And I said, nah, I'm kidding. You pay $749. But generally speaking, because everybody bought early birds here, we got 100. I hit my goal there, getting 100. So we don't have 38 left right now. But one thing I am doing, you might put this in there, the link, I'm doing an advanced art of day trading after this, because I said I wasn't going to do it, but then I got to thinking about it. I said it'd be great to be there with everybody after what I teach them to do, to make sure they got it and making money. So you'll get to see me do it, how I do it in live for at least 10 sessions, maybe more. And Jonathan will post the link, if he'll post that link for the advanced people that want to add the people in here. I'll probably only take 100 for that also. So if you're part of that membership, be sure you get your spot. Okay. Peg says she's already in. Okay. Anybody else? Jonathan, yeah, that's the 10. It's called 10 live sessions, but it's actually advanced day trading is what it's going to be. And I call it advanced because I'm going to actually right in front of you show you how to enter, exit, and make money. There's John. John says, I want my spot. I'm in. Matt just wrote something very nice. Read that, Jonathan, what Matt wrote. It looks like it's real nice what he said. Sandy's in. He's a new guy. He's in. He's seen enough. He says, count me in, Tommy boy.
Matt said the entire DTI crew are really wonderful. I read and follow some of the popular personal development coaches, and they all echo the same theme. Find a way to provide more value than any of your competitors, and you will rise to the top and achieve far beyond your goals. To loosely paraphrase there. Tom and everyone impress me more every day, and I have barely scratched the surface of the products I subscribe to. That's awesome, Matt. Thanks for posting. Thanks for taking the time to type all that out. All right, moving on here. Thursday, we looked at, we highlighted 5 winners in May, 5 programs. There's, speaking of TNT, there's a QQQ. Took advantage of the pocket put spread on that day. That was a 2 or 3 day hold for 35%. Here's Tuesday power plays, a real nice Google trade, long call, 61% return overnight there. Everybody at Sawgrass, I would expect us to do Tuesday power plays, at least show you the process next week. 25-cent trader. This is a unique program Tom has, buying 25% options on the XSP. That's a 26% return during the month of May. And side hustle trade. Tom, you doing a side hustle trade today?
Well, it's Friday, and I'm gonna I'll put the magical record on the line today. Absolutely, I'll do it.
All right. That was good for 29% there a couple weeks ago. And then finally, one ticker payouts, trading the QQQ. That one there was good for 22%.
I got to tell y'all a funny story about one ticker. Okay, I ran about 30 QQQs in a row. And I said, man, and I said, I'm going to slow down a little bit. It's a lot of work doing this QQQ. And then I decided that after about, I took a little break from it. I said, I might as well throw some more out there. So I think since that time, we put out about 10 more trades that have been big winners. Folks, the QQQ plays very nicely to the 24-hour market. And this is something that if you'd like to join it, why don't you talk to Kelly and take a $99 trial for a month, okay, for June, see what you think, okay? But talk to Kelly or Jeffrey, and they will help you get a $99 intro test of it. I don't have a link, or Adam, I didn't tell him about it. It just came off the top of my head. I'll do a one ticker payout later on today, so don't hesitate on that, because I got to thinking about I'm going to do a one ticker also today.
All right, noted. Weekend side hustle and one ticker later on this afternoon.
Right.
All right, Tom, I owe you a lighthearted apology here. You and I spoke yesterday. You said, I know we did more than 30-something trades. And I said, Tom, that's pretty darn good. I wouldn't complain about that. Well, I retallied, and I forgot about the 5 free trades you gave in Train and Trade that were all winners. So 41 for 41 in the month of May.
In other words, we're paying people to be here, and we're not charging for it. What's wrong with that picture? I'm playing with y'all. I like to do that because I'm all about you getting value with anything we do, and I have a lot of fun with that, because sometimes I say, somebody says, Tom, how much is it to come to a one-on-one? I said, it's $5,000 a day, $10,000. Can I have a discount? No, you can't have a discount. $10,000 if you want to spend 2 days with me. And I got, I try to do one a month where I don't wear myself out, but it's really fun to get to really know people. Then they say, well, how much for one of those classes? I said, well, they sell out every year, and they're $5,000 to come, but I give you a year's worth of futures training, so actually you're paying $3,500. If somebody sets with me for 2 days in that group, those people will end up buying a 3-package deal that I given after they pay the initial fee. And I would say 96% of everybody that's ever come and sat face to face with me signs up for additional classes, because they realize they're just scratching the surface on what I'm going to teach them. And so it works out pretty good for people that that want that. Okay. And that's what I do.
41 for 41. That brings your record for the year up to 85%. 146 winners, 25 losers, one
And
break.
you've heard me say this in the past. I always try to be conservative. I always say, somebody said, well, Tom, how accurate are you? I said, I'm usually right about 4 out of 5 times. And that's pretty close to the way I trade, about 4 out of 5. And Jonathan surprised me because I didn't realize I threw a perfect game last June. Now I got a game I'm playing. I got a perfect game in May, got a perfect game in June. I'm going to try to get another month knocked out as a perfect game, probably October or November, perfect game, because those are usually better trading months than these. There's the Sawgrass picture.
Yep, kind of a last chance. You can still attend Sawgrass online.
Let me just say, Jonathan, I don't know if you know this, but I had several people who took me up on that special offer I made. Adam chewed me out for doing it. I love getting Adam blood pressure up. But anyway, what I said yesterday, I said, if you sign up for Sawgrass, I will give you next year, if you want to come in person, no charge if you sign up. And I'm talking about just a day only. I said yesterday, but I'm willing to go a half a day today. If you hadn't signed up online, it will be worth your while. And if you want to come in person, we'll squeeze you in. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a good one. This market's in a very good position. I see John Toole there. Betsy will be there Sunday night. You'll get to meet his wonderful wife, Betsy. John Toole used to be in the Air Force with me. I mean, knows he's wearing blue. Notice I'm wearing blue. We're supporting the cause, right, John? Anyway, you heard what I said. If you want to sign up, the link for Sawgrass, you got it, Jonathan? You want to put it in there for people that wants to sign up, make it easy for them? Or you can talk to Kelly or Jeffrey again.
Yeah, the link's in the chat there, dtitrader.com/sawgrass, dtitrader.com//sawgrass. Let's keep going here. Now, today's focus, we want to review the 4 compass patterns and why they are important to recognize. That's an understatement here. Just to review, this is what a buy signal looks like. You have your reference bar, then you have your first bar that goes into the buy zone. That's known as the penetration bar. You see it pointed out there. And if the next bar makes a higher high, you've got a confirmed buy signal into the buy zone. The flip side of that is called a buy failure, where you have a bar that goes into the buy zone and they never take out a higher high, they never take the high out. They flip it around and go into the sell zone. You can see that pointed there on the chart, a buy failure. Of course, we have a classic sell signal, a push into the sell zone, a lower low, and it typically heads to the sell target on a classic sell signal. And of course, that means the last one here is a sell failure. Goes into the sell zone in a bullish market, it flips around, goes higher. All right, remember the goal is always to be answering the question, whether to be long, whether to be short, or whether to be out. And I wanted to look at what happened in the market overnight to show you this. This, you can see RB1 there, the blue candle. It's kind of hard to see, but where my mouse is, if you can see my mouse, you can see it didn't head higher. We dipped into the sell zone, and we have a failure here. All right, they failed to go lower once they got into the sell zone. Common pattern in a bullish market. How about RB2 and RBX? You can see they got stuck in between the buy zone and sell zone overnight. So that's a stay out. How about RB3? RB3 is signaling a possible failure. All right, but right now it's day out. A failure it would have to fall down into the sell zone down here below 75. Or it's going to go up and make a new high. Then we'll be on our trek up to 45, 76.45 times resistance today, times target. So we got possibilities ahead here. I think that is the last slide because here in a minute, the Genesis bar will start painting the picture here for after the European close. And so I guess I'll turn it back over to you, Chuck, and you can take us to a live market and we can scope out what's going on live here.
Yeah, it sounds great, Jonathan. And let me just get my screen situated the way we want it to go. All right. So, wait, what are we looking at? I think I've got the wrong screen up. Hang on. There we go. All right. So let's go live and look at the current market. Let me just get out of the slides here, push those down. And here is my roadmap, but I want to show you guys something a little bit more stable. So let's go in and look at our charts. And you can see I got GM up here for some reason, but let's go, Tom, and look at Intel, one of our great stocks to follow. Get that filling in. And you can see that, as Jonathan said, you get that little downward swing, but we've got the market starting from RB3. Actually, this is on the swing view. Let's go ahead and look at the intraday. RB3 coming back down. So that was a big, strong market this morning. We just started RBX, and that's why our sell zone and buy zone move in. But just, how good is the roadmap software going into the buy zone? You get the failure move. Nice little move there. Still think this is a great position or a great stock to look long term. But let's reset those buy zones and sell zones with the Genesis open. And not a bad looking stock, Tom. What else do we want to be looking at this morning?
Well, one thing that I'm doing right now is we're talking. Y'all remember where I taught you how to do a collar trade? Y'all remember me teaching you how to do that? What I'm doing, I've just bought Intel and I'm selling the 131 call for next Friday against it. I hadn't put on my protection yet. I'll do that later on today. Wherever it's trading after RB4, which happens between 130 and 2, I'll go in there and put on buy a put. And when I buy the put, I will spread it by $10 wide. So if it's at 122, that time I will take the number of shares. I just sold the call against those shares up at 131, and I'll take the number of shares. Say I had 1,000 shares, I would go in there if it's 122 and buy a 122 put and sell a 112 put after RB4 for the protection. Everybody understand what I just said, what I would do? I bought the stock, just sold the 131 call. Give me a yes if you understood what I just reviewed with you. If you didn't understand it, go look up what a collar is. Come on, Peg. You got to know that. Okay, let me break it down. How many people know how to buy a stock? Say yes. How many people know how to do a covered call? Sell the same number of shares as a call with an expiration date of next Friday. How many people know how to do that? And the strike I gave you is 131, right? The next thing, how many people know how to do a put spread? Okay, so you do a put spread on Intel wherever it's trading at 2 o'clock time-wise. Say it's trading at 122, I'd buy a 122 put for next Friday and sell a 112 put. Now there's your collar. Now do you understand it, Peg?
Mary and Cindy.
I just want to point out, I just posted today's slides again. If you check out slide number 8 from today's slide deck, you can see the past 5 days of education here at Training Trade. And for Friday, May 22nd, that was the education collars. So check it out.
Okay, guys, so let's see here. Tom is a bit taken up. Let's go ahead and take a look back at these slides. And let me just bring that up, go into our slideshow. We'll come back to that live market in a moment. Let me tell you a little bit about Diversified Trading Institute, better known as DTI. We've been teaching traders since 1996. We actually started out as Day Trading Institute and realized there's a lot more markets to look at. So we went a little bit diversified on that front. Almost everything we do at DTI revolves around answering that age-old question: long, short, or out. First and foremost, Tom, you got to know which direction the market is moving. Which way is the wind blowing, right?
Absolutely, you got to know it.
All right. So when we can combine the elements of what we're looking at to answer that most important question, long, short, or out, we start to get a picture of the market. Now, here's what you want to look at and what answering that question does. Number one, it gives you an action plan for every day. You understand what you're looking for in the market, what it has to do and what it can't do. Risk and reward. That's always a focus. We look at both sides of the market. We're going to remove fear because we're prepared. The market's not going to shock us. We know what we're looking at. And we're going to create a little bit of optimism because if you do this enough times, you'll see how well it works. Although I do have to say, past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. It kind of is, but we have to say it's not. Allows you to write your own ticket. Basically, one of the great things about becoming successful as a trader, you want to raise, go out there and trade better. Maybe add on a contract. What are you looking at? Let's make it work. Now, the roadmap is going to make it simple. So here's Tom. Roadmap is how you've been able to do this. I think this slide probably needs to be updated. We saw earlier, what was it up to? 41, Tom?
Yeah, 10 trades since that was posted.
Yeah, so still the percentage is the same, 100%. What do people think about what we do here at DTI? Well, Joe tells us that the roadmap is the reason he wanted the one-on-ones. Those one-on-one classes, great. Everything else because it helps him organize all the data coming at him so he can make good decisions. That's one of the great things about roadmap software. It takes.
Let me say something about Joe real quick. He just signed up for another one-on-one, and he said, I'm signing up again. I got so much out of the last one. So he took a spot in the fall. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about it, I thought, he said, let me call Jeffrey, get him to charge the credit card. I love that. Get it paid and move on. Yeah, and when you come down to Sawgrass, for those of you who are there, you'll see all the different roadmaps we got up and running. So many roadmaps up on the screens, Tom, it's going to be amazing. All right, now Roger tells us, Roger, I'm a doctor and I can't keep up because I work full time, but with the roadmap software, I get my game plan every night for the next day. It keeps me on the right side of the market. That's a great thing about roadmap. If you got it up and running, it collects all the information you need to know. Just click through your little tabs to see what you need to see. You'll understand the market. It is definitely software designed by traders for traders. I want to give you a little insight on Roger. Roger told me that he really struggled. And I said, you're not using the roadmap. He bought it, wasn't using it. He came for a one-on-one. I showed him during the one-on-one the benefit of it. And so last month he told me he made like 18 grand. And this month he's beat that because he now knows how to use the roadmap effectively, and he knows when to get in, when not to get in. And I think that I see Carol's in this room. She'll tell you she's been. Carol, how many one-on-ones have you been with me? How many one-on-ones have you been? I don't even know. It's been about 3 years worth. But Carol's going to 101 after this Sawgrass. She's been to 4. There you go, 4 of them. Okay. That's about 2 a year she comes to. 2 a year.
Yeah, and Tom, Bill tells us as a longtime Roadmap subscriber, he's skeptical about buying it for $3,000. And by the way, we got a different price point on that. But if he had known what it was worth, he would have been. He would not have been skeptical. Shaped his trading for over 10 years, and yeah, you can. By the way, Tom, you're doing the monthly thing on Roadmap where you can get it for $99 a month now.
Yeah, I did that because I got a big change coming to the roadmap, and I'm trying to get. I'd rather open it up because we really got our game together, and have people get in there early in their trading with us where they'll start off successfully. A lot of people will hear me make some trades, buy a program, and they don't have the roadmap. And in that day trading, I said, you got to have the roadmap to even sign up, because I don't want to take your money unless you're going to make money. And that's the first step, having that roadmap software.
Yeah, and if you want to take advantage of that, go to dtitrader.com/roadmap. You can get a much better price point than what Bill paid, though Bill will tell you it was worth every penny he paid. So if you can pay a lot less, by all means do so. Roadmap simplifies the DTI method with these simple long, short, or out parameters. That is where the tools in the Roadmap software come into play. And we got a lot of tools, guys. So these are Tom's top 10 reasons why you can't leave today without the Roadmap software. Number 1, scanners, Roadmap scanners, the High Noon scanner. We've got posted up here, and you can look at which stocks are you looking at for a bullish position? Which stocks are you looking at for a bearish position? By the way, if you're not colorblind, you can tell which one of those is bullish and which one of those is bearish, right? You guys all see that. Green and red. We make it simple. Tom, you were waving. Did you have something you wanted to say?
No, Kevin's going to be at Sawgrass. I guess he's en route to get here, but he stayed as long as he could. I was just saying bye.
All right, gotcha. So number 2, Roadmap Research Key, and this is a great little tool. I'll often go in and use this a lot. I try and keep up with things day to day, but every now and then you get a little bit distracted. You want to go back and fill in those points. The Research Key is a great way to do it. It shows me what the markets have done, and you can see this one pictured here. This is weekly, last week, 5/18. And I think what we're looking at here, Tom, that's the QQQ. You can tell by that tab down at the very bottom. Hard to see. I've got it big on my screen, so I'm telling you it's the QQQ. And you can see how the QQQ has been performing. These numbers are going to be green or red versus on the previous read. So you can see the high here, 712.07, which was posted up. That was below 722.03. It's been updated a little bit because the QQQ has made it all the way up to 738. So we got some larger numbers in there, but you can just take a look here and see all that green right there is telling you how positive this market has been. For those of you who like to track volume, midpoint, we got all that in the Research Key. So go ahead and take a look.
Hold on a second, Chuck. Folks, he just said something. He said the QQQ. I went long to QQQ this morning, and I've still got a position on, and I haven't had time to decide when I want to exit my profit. I went over on this other computer over here, and I said, where was the low to QQQ went since 5 o'clock this morning, 4:30 to 5, right? Looked at my roadmap up there, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, it was at 736.27. So I know right then, as long as the QQQ is above 776.37. No, let me look at that number again. I'm sorry, I always focus on the last two. It
737.84 was the
no 736.27. So as long as it's above that, I'm gonna stay long. I'll keep milking this cow. Now,
yeah.
that's something that I use by keeping that ETR line up, one of our oldest features. So I want to point that out while you're recovering. You're doing a great job. Keep going, Chuck.
Yeah, we'll get to the ETR in a bit. We're going to probably save some of the best for last. Roadmap Trade Tracker. This is where you can come in and look at month open versus last versus the FTD high, FTD low. So you get that FTD function in there. That, of course, will be resetting as we go into next month, Tom. We'll get our first 3 days in June, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. So really looking forward to that. The week start, it's kind of a way of saying Monday, but as we saw a couple weeks back, or was that this week? No, that was this week. Memorial Day weekend was the past weekend. So our week start was on Tuesday rather than Monday. That's why it's week start instead of just Monday. So week start high, week start low. What has the market done over the past 5 days? Obviously, this picture a little bit old because the S&P got that high up at 76.1150. So it's moving. Roadmap, numbers that pay. Again, the week start open, week start high, week start low. And then you get the open. We're looking at the reference bar. This particular picture is going to be after RBX, which is early in the morning before we get to RB3. Highest high, lowest low over that time period there. And you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This was taken from Wednesday. Previous day high, previous day low, and last traded price. And you can see how these markets are moving. You'll notice when that last price gets above all the other numbers, the parameter there, you get that green headlight. And AMD, I think this is from about 2 weeks ago, Tom. AMD lighting up green at 444.13. Can someone tell me where Advanced Micro Devices is trading right now today?
511.
511. That's great freaking move. And Tom, by the way, AMD, one of the stocks you put on, wait for it, the T-Buzz Weekly newsletter, one of the big 5 stocks. It's also the one we reviewed on the update. So AMD, a fun stock for us. Intel also down here. That's one that we've been really enjoying. That last read about 2 weeks ago from Intel, 117.86. And they made it up to 126.64 earlier today. Little bit of profit taking going into the weekend, still above that 117 area. So it would be lighting up green based on those parameters. Roadmap custom page. There's a lot we can do with this page, but basically we call it the custom page because it's very customizable. You can set it up the way you want. This is your quotes page, and we're looking at all the important information. The way Tom arranges it, he goes from the open out. So the open is the first most important thing he looks at, 73.77. The RB open next. That was 73.95, and then that last price. Of course, it's going to look a little bit different in a live picture. This is, again, from a few weeks back. We know that we opened the S&P, Tom, 75.8750. The Genesis bar opened for the S&P, 75.9850. Do the math, 98.50 is higher than 87.50, although the last traded price, 94.75. So we're letting that Genesis bar develop. Still got a few more minutes for that to run through. This is my favorite. The electronic tape reader, the ETR page. And guys, there's a lot we can do with this. I want you to notice the name here, the Train.30. So Train is the name of this ETR page. This is one that Jonathan created. It's running a 30-minute time frame, which you can notice when you look at the times down here. And it's focusing on the open. So the title bar tells us a lot more than just the name. And go through, you plug in the stocks you want to pay attention to, and we're looking for colors here. This is a little bit candy cane, so not a great picture to look at, but we've seen roadmaps where it's all green. When that ETR line is just going green and flashing green, market's going higher. See the other color? Well, guess what red means? It's going down. So we always have that visual representation. But then let me take you back here. You also get to key in on what the numbers are. So not just the colors, also the numbers, one of the important pieces of our information. Tom has always said he's a tape reader at heart, so we want to make sure we can read the tape. The money maker, it's a great way to see what we're expecting out of the market. If you know where your support is and where your resistance is, plug them in. You can put that E-mini S&P as the first column, That gives you the buy and sell. So if we establish support and resistance in the E-mini S&P, and here's one of the keys to the whole DTI method, a huge majority of stocks track with the S&P 500. So you put the S&P 500 in here and then plug it out based on where those other stocks would be mathematically, and you get an idea of where support and resistance is in your favorite stocks to look at, because more than likely they are tracking with the S&P 500. So that's why this money maker works so well. Genesis page, talking about the Genesis time frame here, and of course we are in the middle of the Genesis bar, and you can see what this looks like. We've got RB3, then we've got this is actually set up for RB3. We've got last, long, short, or out. It's going to make the determination for you. Highest high, lowest low, RB open, RB high, RB low. This one's reading RB3, but this page was set to read the Genesis bar, which we are currently on. Roadmap dashboard. Again, another one of my favorite features, Tom, because I can roll through and be able to move from chart to chart to chart. Everything's tied in. So you can see this one's looking at AMD, but if you're in the actual roadmap, you can come down. Let me look at SLV. Just double click on that. That pops up in the chart. All the pertinent information laid out there for you. And you can see in your list, we'll have ways to organize that. I'll take you to a live roadmap in just a second. I'm going to show you this, but roadmap compass charts. I don't know what to say about the compass charts, Tom, other than the most complete charting package that I'm comfortable with. So I don't know. You got anything else you want to add in on the compass charts? Because I just say they're great.
Yeah, here's what I'd write down. Don't make any trades unless you look at those compass charts before you do the trade. That's about as strong a statement as I can make. I don't do any trade unless I plug it into the compass and see the relative 4 patterns I look for. And that tells me, is it time to make the trade or should I wait a little bit by looking at that compass chart? And one thing that's very apparent, if I'm looking for something to go up, like if I'm looking to see if, Tesla, for example, goes up, I want to see a higher bar on the current bar than the preceding bar. And the reason I told you to check it at RB2, if you're going to enter it, make sure that the bar after the 132 bar today is positive, then I'd enter that option trade I posted in TNT. Say if you slept through getting in this morning.
Right.
Another thing I want to make a note of, just where you'll know, anytime I go out over 45 days, I'm building a position. That's a little different than trading, say inside of 45 days is my 3-day rule. I'm looking to try to build a position in something because I see stars. I think it's going to go a lot more in normal. And that's why I think Tesla's going to go a lot more in normal. And I'm just preparing people to have some in their pocket, so to speak, when it starts proving me right.
And Tom, on the example you're seeing, classic buy pattern, buy signal. RB3 moves into the buy zone, following bar follows it up.
Penetration bar penetrates the buy zone, confirmed by the bar after. That's a classic buy signal.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what that looks like. Now, David tells us not only is Roadmap incredibly useful software, but it comes with a lot of educational material. Months after I bought Roadmap, I was still finding or learning about new uses. I agree with that completely, Tom. I've been using this software for, how long have we had the software? Like more than 20 years. About 25, maybe 30 years.
Say 25 plus years. And I know what you're going to say, Chuck, because I do the same thing.
Yeah, like Jonathan tells me, hey, how do you use this function in this component in Roadmap? And I'm like, wait, that's a component in Roadmap? So I gotta go and figure it all out. We keep adding stuff into this, just making it better, and every new thing is just a lot of fun. You wouldn't trade without the Roadmap. I wouldn't trade without the Roadmap. And those of you listening in on Zoom and YouTube, you shouldn't be trading without the Roadmap either.
Yeah, I want somebody to show me a software out there that has that kind of track record. It's amazing.
Yeah, and we're going to give everybody.
I had the Roadmap.
We're going to give everybody an opportunity to begin using it every day in your own trading. And as Tom says, when you understand how to use it, you can find virtually every opportunity. So let's see. And this is what people tell DTI, it's what people tell Tom, it's what people tell me. If I could just see the markets the way you see them, I could make so much money trading. Your team is incredible at market timing. And market timing is, I think, one of the keys to the roadmap, this integration of time and price, which seems so simple, but being able to display it in a way that's understandable, that's really the key to this whole thing. So let's go in. First thing you'll learn with Roadmap is the 4 power patterns. We mentioned the buy signal a little bit earlier. This is what a buy signal example looks like. A penetration bar. It doesn't have to be on the reference bar, but it helps if it is. This is actually an interesting example here, but we get into the buy zone and then confirmation bar going up. Let's go to our next example, which is a buy failure. You penetrate into the buy zone, and then the market heads in the other direction, and you get that follow through. A sell signal is when you have that penetration into the sell zone, you break the bar, and you can continue down to the target. And those buy zones and sell zones, you can highlight those in your roadmap. Let's see. Sell failure, of course, is funny enough. This is the same chart as the buy signal. I was noticing this. You have the reference bar in the sell zone. The next bar penetrates, though not by much. And then we turn, and it sets up not just a buy signal, but also a sell failure signal. So kind of a double whammy on that particular example. And we built a complete program around the roadmap so that we can hold your hand, show you how to take advantage of it. It's called the Roadmap Trader Package. So put all that together for you guys. First, you're going to get the complete roadmap software. Allows you to see the market exactly the way we do. Do not trade without this. Every kind of market, every type of trading. Second, you're going to get the Roadmap Trader course. And, I know Jonathan spent a lot of time putting this together, picking my brain, picking your brain, Tom, and laying it out for everybody to see how it works. And I mean, if you can just kind of jump into our brains and understand what we're looking at, it certainly helps moving things along. Next, you're going to get one of Tom's favorite modules, the 4 patterns. Teaches you 4 specific, deadly accurate patterns to find using the roadmap software. That's the buy signal, buy failure, sell signal, sell failure. You can make a career out of just that software and that module alone. Next, of course, get the complete trade management course, arguably the most important piece of the Roadmap Trader package. Learn how to place and manage trades, even if you've never traded before in your life. Learn how to set up autopilot trades so you don't have to watch the charts all day. Let's go into Rapid Results, the Rapid Results Quick Start Guide. Going to show you how to get set up, start finding opportunities immediately using the Roadmap Trader. And let's see, what's this, Tom? I'm going to give you access to the complete DTI trading suite. And this is an online training, which is available through the One-Click website. And you can see the topics here: tutorials, options, stocks, futures, more futures, options. And let's go in tape reading 101, 201, 301, 401. Break this down for you. And even for those of you who are thinking, well, I'm not really into trading, what good would it be for me? Well, if you're investing and you want to understand your 401k, you can look at this. And we always focus in, Tom, on what we do on a daily basis. We focus on those half-hour
we
bars.
do that, folks, because we're live with you, and our focus is get the short term right, the swing and come, and the long term come. That's one reason we focused on that very first step. But all the stuff we're talking about can be used for long term trading too.
Exactly, swing and long term. In fact,
Absolutely.
if you look at the 3 tabs on the compass charts, it's intraday, swing, and long. So yeah, it's definitely set up that way. And let's see. This is why I say this should be my most expensive product. Look at this. Look at all that information. And Tom, I think we should get to Adam and say, why are you giving this away for free? We need to talk to him about that because it's pretty cheap. And listen, I want to make enough money to retire. I know you've already done that. You're just doing this for fun now. But let's talk about getting you involved with the Roadmap software. So we've got the software, the trader course, 4-pattern module, trade management course, rapid results, all access training suite, full technical support, and no nonsense guarantee. I can listen. Is there anything else you want to throw in here? Is the kitchen sink left?
Nah, I think that's about as good for $99.
Yeah, so truly worth 7 figures. Might even say maybe a bit more than that. This is what Tom uses to make his living. It's what Tom uses to make all his decisions. If you were to walk into his house at home, even if he's in the back cooking up on the grill, step into his office. There's the Roadmap software ready to go whenever he wants to look at it. So it is definitely there. And this is what we're going to do today. Roadmap 1 month access, $99. This is $99 per month. So you can check it out for that first month. Do you love it? Great. Go ahead and renew again. DTItrader.com/roadmap. Call 904-706-3532 to reserve your roadmap today. And Tom, I don't think we're done. I think I've got a little bit more information to go through with you guys.
Well, one thing I want to say, I think let's give Chuck a hand and show the love for DTI by signing up for this because he did about as good a presentation as I've heard in a lot of years. Just give Chuck a hand and show get involved. Good job, Chuck. That was great. I enjoyed listening to it.
So, but Tom, there's more to it. So let's talk about your commitment. You've been in the game a long time, lost and made fortunes. Like I understand that. I went through that time period where discipline was not my friend. This is one of the things that Tom and I always kind of have some camaraderie on. You got to keep coming back to get that discipline. The roadmap kind of helps. But you do so well with that roadmap software. Sometimes you start thinking a little bit too highly of yourself, which is why, by the way, there's the penalty tape. Ask about that. We'll get that out for you guys. Kind of bring you back to the base. We're in this together, and it is difficult to trade alone. So having that community works out. We want everybody to be part of that community. I don't know about this limited to 30. We'll see.
Well, we have to do that because we got a white glove. One thing about buying software is getting it on your computer and using it in function. Jonathan does that, and he's constantly loading it onto people's computers and helping them do it, where all you can do is sit there and he gives you a working copy right away, which makes your experience outstanding. I probably got software I bought that I've never loaded on my computer. So we knocked that out, and I had a guy this week, his roadmap wasn't working, one of our great students, and I was talking to him. I said, well, hold on. We'll get Jonathan to take it over. He fixed it within 2 minutes, something simple. And we really support this. We want you to be part of it, but we remove all the obstacles. You pay the $99, you get on his list, and he'll get you loaded.
So we're limiting 30 because we want to make that onboard process as full and complete as we can, because we certainly want you guys to succeed. It's not just selling you a product, it's supporting you through it. So we want to make sure we can provide that support. Don't procrastinate, because if you're not in that 30, you're going to have to wait for the next opportunity. Now, Roadmap 1 month access, $99. Sign up at DTItrader.com or call 904-706-3532. And let's see. Okay, I think that takes us to the end. This is now, is there anything, Tom, that you wanted to look at before we go ahead and sign off?
Yeah, I don't think so. Right, Diane. If you already got a subscription about to expire, you can extend your current subscription. If you bought it at 1,000 or whatever, you can extend it for 1 month, 2 months, whatever you want to do. But yeah, definitely you could do that. We're trying to go to a monthly access because and put it in people's hands, because sometimes paying $3,000 is not the right time for you. But I know if you're here to make money, here trying to trade, 99 bucks is a very small price to pay to get the right answer to that question. What should you do with that money in your account?
Yeah, so if you've had a 12-month subscription to Roadmap and you want to tack on a little bit more time to that, you can tack it on at $99 per month.
Right. And we'll adjust it for you. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Tom, I think that brings us to the end of the presentation. I want to thank you for taking the time to tell us a little bit about the software, a little bit about the DTI methodology, and giving us a little bit of background on what you've been up to. Of course, we do have Sawgrass coming up. Is there anything else we want to tell people before we wrap things up today?
No, just at 3 o'clock, we're doing a special webinar for our Sawgrass people. I like to do that. See where we are. Maybe we put some trades on that we can take off Monday. That's what I'm thinking.
Also, a good time to remind those of you who are coming down to Sawgrass when we're doing that live presentation, make sure you get that packing list correct. You don't want to arrive in Sawgrass without your toothpaste. We do have stores. You can buy some there, but let's go ahead and make sure you get everything packed. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thank you, Tom. And let's see. Let's go ahead and... Are we stopping the recording?
I don't know.